Hari Om. Let's start with 3 Oms and Sahana Avatu and Guru Stotram 5 slokas. Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Stotram. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurureva Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram Jangamam Yaptam, Yatkim Chissacharacharam, Tatpadam Darsitam Ena, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam Vyapiyat Sarvam Trailokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darsitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Sarvam Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Anadeva Deva. Hari Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namah. We are doing the Upadesa Saram of Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi. Gave the introduction and we have explained in terms of what is Pramana, what is the Pramata and Prameyam and Prama. So these are essential in terms of understanding how do I know. So how the knowledge takes place, we have explained. And also accounted in terms of the consciousness is Prajnanam Brahma. That means the infiniteness is the consciousness. So consciousness is infinite, and we mentioned that it is given in a converse statement. That means wherever and whatever the conscious entity is there, it is Brahman, it is infinite. If everything is consciousness, because Brahman, being Brahman means infinite, there cannot be any divisions in the consciousness, then the question is, how does the inert things arise? And that is the world. Whole world is nothing but objects which are essentially inert. So we have a subject I and the object this, and all knowledge is, most of it is particularly the objective senses is analysis of this. And from the Vedanta point, Prajnanam Brahma, consciousness itself is Brahman, and therefore there cannot be anything other than consciousness. So if there is other than consciousness, so that cannot be real. It can be apparent, but it's not really real. So the question is, what is this world? What is the Jiva? Because there are divisions now. I am a Jiva, I consider myself as a local entity, and the world is in front of me, and I am born here, and I am all my pursuits are trying to gain happiness that I want. So whatever I do, either pravrutti or nivrutti, trying to gain something or trying to get rid of something, is I want to be happy. Why I want to be happy? Because I am unhappy otherwise. So there is a conclusion on myself that I am unhappy and I want to become happy. Therefore, I am pursuing all the pursuits. The bottom line is so that I can be happy. So all the activities or actions that I am doing is only to gain that happiness. And whatever that I love is only because that object that I love brings me happiness. Hence in the Maitri Brahmana, Yajnavalkya says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. For my sake, everything is, because I like this, I want this, I want this. It's not for the object's sake, but it is for my sake. So why do I need that? Because that object brings me happiness. So I want that, or I love it, because what I love is only happiness that the object brings. And therefore, I have already assumed that I am unhappy, and with that object I am going to be happy. These are all our pursuits. So the world is there for me to enjoy, but every time I get something, it doesn't leave me completely happiness, because I feel myself still an inadequate person, because I am not complete yet and I want something more. That I want this, I want this, I want this. The whole rat race starts, because without that I am not going to be happy. So only way I can be completely happy means I have everything in the universe. That means I am infinite. There is nothing that I need anymore, because everything is with me. That means I have to reach a state of infiniteness for me to be absolutely happy. Therefore, there is no more longing mind, or a wanting mind, or a desiring mind. Then I am completely with myself, because I have everything that I need. But the problem is, I cannot get infiniteness by adding a finite things. Finite plus finite can only be finite, and therefore it can never become infinite. So therefore, by gaining something which is finite, or by doing something which is finite, I can never reach that state of infiniteness or state of adequateness where I have everything that I want. So therefore, its whole pursuit is going to be a failure, because I want to be happy, and that happiness is an absolute. Therefore, I want to be eternally absolutely happy, that I can gain only when I can gain the infinite, and I can never gain the infinite by finite means. Therefore, there is an inherent problem, and that's what Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi starts addressing in the first sloka. Let's look at this sloka, and then we'll go into more details about how he addresses this. Karturajñaya prapyate phalam. Karturajñaya prapyate phalam. Karma kim param karma tajjadam. Karma kim param karma tajjadam. Do second sloka also. Kruti mahodadau patana karanam. Kruti mahodadau patana karanam. Palama shashvitam gati nirodhakam. Palama shashvitam gati nirodhakam. So this text itself starts with Karturajñaya prapyate phalam. So normally any beginning of the text is one has to invoke the presence of the Lord. So this is called Mangalacharanam, or the Upodghatam, or a statement where invocation of the Lord or invocation of the teacher to bless, because I am going to write a book. So this is traditionally one has to think of the Lord. So there are different types of Mangalacharanam, or different type of Dhyana slokas, or the prayer slokas, and here a sloka that contains a statement of fact. So Ramana Maharishi normally uses this kind of the invocation where he states the statement of fact, and the fact is karturagnya prapyate phalam, and he starts with kartruhu. Kartruhu means creator. So in the first word itself is thinking of the Lord. Lord is the one who created. So how do we define God? So all scriptures define the God is Jagat Karta Ishwaraha, is the one who created the whole universe. That's the definition of the Lord. All scriptures say that it is God created this world. Whether it's a Bible or whether it's Hinduism or any ism that starts with, says, where is this world? And he says this world is a creation, and who created? God created this world. So therefore the first definition of God is, all the scriptures define is Jagat Karta Ishwaraha. So for one to know, for one to create, he should have the knowledge of creation. Suppose I want to make a pot. So if I want to make a pot, I should have the know-how of how to make a pot. Without knowing how to make a pot, I cannot really make a pot. So I should have the knowledge of creation. So if God is going to create the whole universe, so he has to have the knowledge of the whole that are there inside the creation. So the entire knowledge that you can think of, he should be master of that, because he should have the knowledge, since he is going to create the whole universe. And whole universe consists of both the matter and the laws governing the matter. So he should be the author of both the matter as well as the physical laws, or the laws that are governing the matter. So in terms of gravitational force and this force, all the forces that are governing, the atomic forces, all are forces, and those are the ones that are really shaping in terms of the actions. Therefore he must be the author of that, since it's all within the creation. Scientist doesn't invent a law, he only discovers the law that is already there in the creation. So therefore the one who is going to create the whole entire universe has to have the knowledge of the whole creation. So therefore Ghatasya Karta Ghatagnya, the one who is going to create a pot should have the knowledge of the pot. One who is going to create the whole entire universe, Jagat Karta, has to be Sarvagnya, has to be knowing everything. Therefore he should have the knowledge of creation. So not only he is a creator, but he should have the knowledge of creation. That's what all the scriptures say. He is the omniscient. That means he has the knowledge of everything that is within the universe. But the next question is, how did he create? Where did he get the matter to create? So if I am going to create a pot, even though I have the know-how of how to create a pot, I need the material. So where do I get a material? I go outside, collect the clay and wet clay, and make a pot of it. So I need a material, clay, for me to make a pot. So I am an intelligent cause. I have the know-how of how to make a pot. That's called Nimitta Karanam. But I need Upadana Karanam, that is a material from which I can make the pot. So if the Lord is a Nimitta Karanam, means he is the intelligent cause, because he is a Sarvagnya, but he still needs a material. Where is he going to get a material for creation? So question is, if there is some material already available, then we ask, who created that material? So the question becomes, we have to bring another God to create that material. So instead of that, says the God has to have the material, and the material he cannot go outside. But I could go outside to get a clay, but Lord does not have the luxury to go outside to get the material. The material also has to come from him. Therefore, if you ask, where did he get material for creation, or what is the cause, material cause for creation, also he has to be the material cause also. Therefore, he is not only the Nimitta Karanam, he is Upadana Karanam. He is the material. That means from himself the material also came. So just as the spider put forth the net, where does they get material to create a net? The spider may know how to create a net, the knowledge is there, but still he needs the material. But material itself comes from him. In the case of spider, the material is out from him, whereas in the Lord case, there is no outside, because Lord cannot be inside or outside, because if there is an outside, we'll ask who created that outside. So outside is also part of the creation. So creation has to be infinite, and therefore if at all it has to come, he himself has to become many. And that's how the scripture defines in the Vedanta. It says Bahushyam Prada Eti, he saw, and it became, he himself became many. So Israel, he is not only the material cause, he is the intelligent cause, but also he is the whole universe also. So therefore, he is neither inside the universe nor outside the universe, but he is the universe itself. The whole creation itself is that all the laws within the universe or the universe are also him only. Therefore, when action is performed, who gives the results of the action? The question is, if I perform an action, what gives the results? If I have a stone in my hand, I have a choice. I can throw this side, I can throw that side, I can throw left or right, or I can throw up. All that I can do. Therefore, I have a choice in performing an action when I perform an action. But once the action is performed, the trajectory of the stone is not determined by me. I cannot dictate the trajectory path. Once it has left my hand, it is going to follow the laws that are governing the trajectory. The gravitational force, the frictional force, all that will determine the trajectory of the stone. And I am not the author. I cannot change the gravitational force or frictional forces to suit the way I want, so that I cannot dictate the result. Action only I can do. The results are given by the laws that are beyond me. I am not the author of the laws for me to make or amend those laws. So therefore, and who is the author of the laws? He is the creator. Therefore, he himself is the one that is governing the action. So next question we would like to ask is, all you said is because this is you started with the assumption that this is a creation. Now, I am an atheist and I want to know, how can there be a creator? How do you know? How do you prove that this is a creation? So what makes something a creation? Let's ask the question. So therefore, if I suppose I say I have a big stone here and I tell you, hey, look at my creation. Say, what do you mean this is look at my creation? You just brought a stone from outside and showing it here. So how can that be a creation? You may hit me with that stone. But suppose I make a beautiful Ganesha out of that stone. And suddenly you say, why? What a beautiful creation. Just before you said it was not a creation because it was just a stone, but now when I chiseled out and made a beautiful sculpture out of it, then you call it suddenly a creation. So how could that become a creation? What made that as a creation? Because there is an aesthetic order in that which came out, and that order makes it is a creation. There is a beauty and there is an order, and thermodynamically, anything order has to work, has to be done. Therefore, there has to be a creation involves a work that involves an order, and that we call it a creation. But why do you say the whole universe is a creation? Just as the Ganesha has the order, the whole universe has the order, because if you look at the whole universe, the solar system, our own Milky Way is so small galaxy compared to the lot of galaxies around, and there are billions of galaxies, and our Milky Way is only one small galaxy. In that, the sun is only a small tiny star, and in that star they have the many planetary systems, and the size of the earth is so small even with respect to the solar system, and sitting in one corner of that earth, a scientist can discover the laws that are governing galaxies and galaxies away, implies that this is a well-behaved system or well-ordered system. Therefore, we call it a creation. So recently, year back, the famous scientist declared that Stephen Hopkins declared that God did not create this universe. How did he know? He says nature created, but who created the nature? Something has to come. Creation involves, obviously, any evolution all involves something has to be there from which one came out. So therefore, those things will not, science cannot answer these questions. Even the Big Bang theory itself starts with the bang. You cannot ask what was there before, where did it occur, when did it occur. All that is only extrapolation to the galaxy movement to the back to the center, and they meet at the point where who is extrapolating, that is the conscious entity who is extrapolating. That's where the Big Bang occurred. And if a fellow sitting billions light years away and he's doing extrapolation, and that's where the Big Bang occurred, that means Big Bang occurred everywhere, but the space itself is not there. It's a singularity. Therefore, space, time, everything starts with the bang only. So, and how did it bang? What are the laws governing the bang? The Big Bang theory cannot explain all that. So essentially, there is a singularity. What it means is we cannot explain. Here, the Vedantic says what was there before is existent consciousness. Satchidananda Swarupam alone was there, and it decided to become many, and it became many. And therefore, that creator is Ishvara. The Ishvara is creating this entire universe, and he is called Kartru, the one who is creator. And he is the one who is Sarvajna, and he is the one who is the author of all the laws governing the creation. So, Kartru Ajnaya Prapyate Phalam. Phalam Prapyate. So, therefore, the results are given by the Lord. That's what it says. That means I have no control on the results. So when I perform an action, karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. That's what Bhagavad Gita says in the second chapter. Krishna says this is the law of action. Action is you have only choice in performing an action. You have no choice in dictating the results. Choice can only be done in the present. Past is gone, future hasn't come. So I have only given this particular second, a particular moment, a particular now, where I can perform an action. And the results follow the action. So results are future to the action, and I have no control on the future. All I can do is perform action, action, action in the riding present. And that is what involves the action itself. And therefore, Krishna himself says, the karmani eva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have no choice in the results of the action, because the results of the action is given by karma paladata, that is Ishvara himself. That's what essentially Bhagavan Ramana Maharishi is emphasizing in as a statement of fact, at the same time thinking that it is the Lord that is the one who gives the results of the action. Kartruhu Ajnaya. Ajna means it is by the dictation of the laws governing, or the author of the laws, that is what determines the results of the action. Whether it's a tangible or intangible, that one can be seen, or that unseen results are also, or adrushtapalam is also by the Lord, depending upon the action. So does the Lord favor anybody? Hey, he is my bhakta, let me give you more results, and this guy is atheist and I shouldn't give that many results because he denies my own presence also. So does he have that kind of partiality? If he has that partiality, then he cannot be God. So therefore, samoham sarvabhuteshu namedvishosti na priyaha. So Bhagavan himself says, I am samaha, I am impartial. Doesn't matter whether he is a bhakta or not bhakta, whether he denies me or whether he accepts me. The results depends upon the action and the circumstances and the environment in which action is performed. So when I make a perturbation, the response is the universe responds back. That's how thermodynamically, when I perform an action to the system responds back appropriately to the action, the perturbation to the action. Therefore, it is the laws are governing, and the Lord himself cannot change this because it's already created. So kartru ajñaya prapyate phalam. So this phalam is given by the Lord, and that is, we already said, Lord is nothing but the universe itself also. So therefore the phalam, the results are by the laws governing the creation itself. Karma kim param karma tad jadam. So here next statement is karma kim param. How can karma, action, be param, supreme? So why do you want karma to be supreme? Because I am performing an action with the hope that that result is going to me be happy. So nobody performs expecting the results to make him unhappy. So I perform an action that the result is that I like, so that I can be more happy than what I am. So therefore all actions are done with the hoping that that will bring me happiness. And what kind of happiness I want? I want a supreme happiness, maximum happiness, that inexhaustible happiness, that I don't have to do any other work. So param is supreme. So supreme here is there is nothing beyond. So I want the result that is supreme. That means that anantameva anandam, that anantam is infinite and there is nothing beyond infinite. So I want that kind of result. But karma kim param, how can that be? Action can be supreme, because in any action there are three things: karta, karma, kriya. So this karta, karma, kriya is I am performing this action. So Rama killed Ravana. So Rama is a karta, Ravana is the karma, that was his karma that he should get killed, and kill is an action that is going on, and therefore the Ravana and killing, Rama killed Ravana. So Rama is different from Ravana, and Ravana are different from killing action. So therefore karta is different, the karma is different, and the action is also different. And by being different, each one limits the other. So therefore karta is not equal to karma, karma is not equal to kriya. Therefore none of them can be infinite. By mutual exclusion, each limits the other. Therefore, karma cannot be infinite. So, karma kim param. So, how can there be infinite? Therefore, it cannot give infinite result. Therefore, through any action, I cannot get infinite result that I am longing for. What kind of infinite result? I want to be eternally, absolutely happy, and that I can never gain by any action or through any action. So that is essentially a statement here, because I am looking for, every jiva is looking for absolute uninterrupted happiness, and all actions are meant to gain that happiness, and I can never gain that happiness through any action. That's what he said. And not only that, there is another problem with the karma. And that is emphasized in the second sloka. Kruti mahodadau patanakaranam palamashashvitam gati nirodhakam. So this kruti mahodadau, it is like an ocean of what? This karma, when I perform an action, why? I want result. So I say I am doing this action. So whenever I perform an action with an attitude that I am a karta, because I am performing, and therefore there is a kartrutva bhavam is there. So whenever I perform an action and the results come, and when I enjoy the results, there is a bhoktrutvam. That means I am an enjoyer. So I am a doer, I am an enjoyer of the results of the action, because the result is making me happy. So therefore I am gaining happiness through this result. So there is a kartrutvam, and that means a notion that I am a doer, and there is a bhoktrutvam, there is an enjoyership. So what's wrong with that? The problem is, even though when the action is performed and the result that comes, I am enjoying it, it leaves an impression. So there is a tangible result immediately for every action that I enjoy, but enjoy or suffer, whatever the nature, depending upon the nature of that action. And when the results come, that leaves also an impression in my mind to either to repeat that action or to avoid that action. Therefore, there is a subtle impression that's called vasana is left in the mind whenever I perform, whenever there's an egocentric, means whenever I have a notion that I am a doer and the results come and I enjoy the result, then that leaves an impression in my mind either to repeat or to, if I like it, or if I don't like it, avoid it. So likes and dislikes starts coming in. That's called a raga dveshas. Ragam is what I like, dvesha is I want to avoid from there on, that kind of a result. So therefore this raga dveshas will develop whenever the action is performed. So what is wrong with it? But that raga or dvesha will propel me back into the action again. So therefore, a simple example is, if I have a good cup of Madras coffee, says I enjoyed it, then I inquired, says, how do you make it? It's very good. So I got a recipe of how to make, then I go to home, buy all the ingredients, and then I make first thing in the morning and start enjoying coffee. So enjoyment is immediate after the cup of coffee, but it is leaving me an impression to repeat that experience. That's called vasanas. So when I perform the action again and again, that reinforcement is called essentially habit or develop. But next time at 6 o'clock, immediately I get up, I have the desire to have a coffee. Why? Because the vasanas that are there, that are left in the mind, propel me back into the action. Say, I want coffee, I want coffee, I want coffee. And without that cup of coffee, I become restless. So essentially, now, originally I went in and I enjoyed it, happiness came momentarily, but also it is leaving me an impression that binds me to that action again. So therefore, every action that is done with an egocentric attitude, I want to enjoy the results, and when the results come and enjoy with that state of mind, that leaves an impression in my mind to repeat or to avoid, and that's called vasanas. So vasanas are the ones that propel me again as a desire at the intellect level to have a cup of coffee, and then agitations. If I don't have a cup of coffee, I want coffee, I want coffee, I want coffee, and I had to get up or make it or go to a restaurant or drink coffee. So action becomes at the body level. So therefore vasanas, a subtle vasanas, starts raising as a desires at the intellect level, and agitations at the mind level, and actions at the body level. And when I perform and get the results, again it leaves an impression, and again I want to perform. So every action will be leaving me some more impressions, and the more impressions will propel me back into actions. So actions, results, and this becomes a vicious cycle. So here the Bhagavan says, Kruti Mahodado Patana Karanam. So when I go after as an action to get the eternal happiness, not only it doesn't give happiness because it's not supreme, it's not param. So how can I expect infinite result by a finite action? Not only it doesn't give, but also it binds me to the action, further action. So I am propelled to more and more actions, and it becomes Kruti Mahodado. It is like a whirlpool where I get caught up in this. So karma to janma, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, jatare sayanam, yasamsare, bahudustare. So life after life after life, this goes on because these vasanas that I have, I am trying to exhaust them by going and performing an action, but in the process it propels me back, puts some more vasanas, and if I cannot exhaust them in this life, it goes into my total account. That's called sanchita karma. So we have to understand now what is sanchita karma, what is the prarabdha karma, and what is agami karma. So total vasanas of all I have together is my total account called Sanchita Karma. Means it is so much in total, I cannot exhaust in any life, one life, that account. So I only bring those vasanas that are ready to germinate, and I take a life that is conducive to exhaust those particular vasanas that I am bringing. So that's called prarabdha vasana. So prarabdha dictates what kind of life I am going to have, whether it's a man life or even the plant life or animal life, wherever the life that is required in order to exhaust those particular vasanas, I take that yoni, I take that womb and be born in that environment to exhaust it. So in the case of animals and plants, they only exhaust the vasanas. They don't accumulate new vasanas, because there is no kartrutva bhavam is there. I am going to do it. I want to do this. And therefore there is no notion of that I and so on. They are propelled by the instincts, and those instincts are essentially Lord himself is taking care to exhaust those particular vasanas. So those lives are only exhausted vasanas, whereas in the human form we are given now an intellect also to make a choice. So the cow doesn't have a choice. Should I be vegetarian or non-vegetarian? Cow doesn't ask those questions. Neither a tiger will ask the question, should I be from tomorrow onwards I am going to be a vegetarian? A tiger doesn't make a choice, because it takes whatever instinctively, whatever the food that it wants. Whereas the human makes a choice. Hey, today I should have an Indian food, or should I go to a Chinese restaurant, or this kind of choices I make because I have an intellect to choose. So depending upon my vasanas, I select. I like Chinese food, therefore I want to look for where are the Chinese restaurants around here. Why? Because those vasanas will propel me to go. Whereas someone say, no, I like Indian food, hot Indian food. So he looks for where the Indian restaurants are and goes towards that environment. So everyone is seeking those particular environments conducive to exhaust. So similarly, the life itself, you are born in a particular environment which is conducive to exhaust those prarabdha vasanas. So we ask the question, why am I born in a particular environment, particular parents, and whether it's a male form or a female form, with this kind of siblings, with that kind of poverty, whether it's a gold spoon or a silver spoon or a wooden spoon or a no spoon, all these questions we ask, is determined by the type of vasanas that are there, that are germinating, that are ready to fluctuate. How did I get those vasanas? Because my previous actions only. So when did I get in the previous life? I should have that vasanas. So this is a continuous life after life. So this life is coming from the selection of particular prarabdha karmas, those actions that are ready to exhaust in this life. I take that birth. But being a human being, I have a choice in the action. Every time as I start developing, I have choice to do or not to do. So at every moment I am at the crossroads. Kartum sakyam, akartum sakyam, anyatha kartum sakyam. To do, not to do, or to do it another way. So these choices are always there, and people complain, I don't have choice. That means they want a particular result, and therefore they don't have a choice other than getting the result in a particular way. So whenever people say that I don't have a choice, only because they only want a selective path. But at any time I can do, undo, or do it another way also. Undo means not do also is a choice. If I say I am not going to do, that's also a choice of action, and I am accountable for that choice also. So therefore the choices that I have is because of being a human being. I have to make a choice, and I have no choice but to choose a particular path. And what kind of choice I make depending upon my value system, my education, my culture, my upbringing, upbringing, my traditions, all that will determine the type of choices that I have, besides the vasanas, my likes and dislikes and so on. So all that are taken into picture in terms of my decision. But once I decide performing an action, then I am accountable for the result that comes, because I have a notion that I am a doer, and therefore it leaves an impression again. So therefore, as a human being, when I perform an action, that gives you some more vasanas. If the vasanas can be exhausted in this life itself, or cannot be exhausted, therefore it goes back into my account, and those are called agami karma. So agami karma is new set of vasanas that are accumulated when I am doing any action with an egocentric attitude. That means I am a doer and I am an enjoyer. When I have that notion, then the action and the resulting vasanas will put me back. That is agami karma, whether I should be can be exhausted in this life itself, or should be put into account. So nothing will be wasted, and which means that everything I am suffering or enjoying is result of my previous actions. If I am an engineer, because I went through engineering curriculum and engineering discipline, and if I now develop a taste for medicine, I can join a medical college if somebody admits and become a doctor, but I am now an engineer come doctor. So this continuously change of depending upon my actions will be my fate also. Therefore, prarabdha is what I have, purushartha is what I do with what I have. So what I have is prarabdha. Now I have a choice in the action to do, undo, or to do it another way. I don't have to go along the direction of the prarabdha. So vasana says vasana says I need a cup of coffee. But now the doctor told me caffeine is not good for you. So therefore now I had to make an intelligent choice to avoid the coffee from now on, because it's not good for me. So intellectually I have to sublimate that desire with an intelligence. Therefore I can go against my own vasanas if the vasanas are not powerful enough. If the vasanas are very powerful, it's very difficult to go. I have to make it slow down, slowly process. So therefore, even though I have prarabdha, even though I have vasanas that are propelling me to perform an action for a desire, I can go against the stream. So a simple example that is given is, if the river is flowing at 10 miles an hour, and if it's just a log, I go along with the river only. But if I put a motor to the log, I can go even against the stream, even though the speed will be less than what it is. But if the speed of the engine is less than 10 miles, then even if I go against it, I'll be slowing down, but still I'll be going along the stream. But if my engine speed is greater than the speed of the flow of the water, then even I can go against the stream, but at a slow pace. In the same way, intelligently I can change my vasanas. So the past prarabdha is what I have. There is a purushartha. Purushartha is for human growth, it is called dharma, artha, kama, moksha are called purusharthas, where if my artha and kama are bounded by dharma and with the goal in moksha, then I evolve in the process, and that's what is Vedanta asks you to do. So what I have is prarabdha, what I do with what I have is called purushartha, and the future prarabdha or future environment that I am going to get is past environment modified by present action. So this is a continuous evolution also. Now let's pose a simple question that a lot of people will ask also. Says, if I change my attitude and I want to turn towards the higher, I want to realize in this life, but I have so much of panchita karma you mentioned, so much of bank account, and all that is going to propel me to do something. What should I do? So how am I going to exhaust all that sanchita karma, and when am I going to evolve? And fortunately, that we don't need to worry about it, because when I change my vasanas, the present vasanas have more effect than all the past. So when I change the determination in spite of the pressure, because the pressure, the previous vasanas, the further away they are, time-wise also, their pressure also becomes less and less. The more powerful pressure comes from the latest one, and therefore when I change my attitude towards the higher, I can in fact do also. Same thing also can happen when I want to go down also. If my vasanas propel me to go down, so if I let it happen, it becomes really a fall. Therefore, it's called the razor edge path. So, Surasya dhara duratchaya durgam patanat kavayo vadanti. In the Kathopanishad, it says it is like a razor edge path, because any time you can fall down, so you have to be vigilant and be attentive at every moment to make sure your mind is tuned towards the higher. And that is what is being emphasized by the Vedanta. So therefore, the Kruti Mahodado, if I don't do it, the action results will get me into more and more willful, because the agami karma becomes more and more sanchita, they put into the account. Again I have to be born, again I'll be doing action, again I'll be accumulating new vasanas. So many lives after lives after lives after lives, we are continuing through this process. The question comes, when do we get out of this? And that he is going to address in the next sloka. But here, Kruti Mahodo Patanakara, it can be cause for downfall. Phalam ashashvitam gati nirodhakam. So this phalam, any result is ashashvitam, is only temporary, not shashvitam. It is not eternal, and therefore it will be limited result always. Therefore it cannot give me that infinite, inexhaustible happiness that I am longing for. So therefore it is causing a problem also. Gati nirodhakam. Gati means it obstructs my progress towards reaching that infiniteness. That is my intrinsic nature, and I want to reach it, and I can never reach it through any action. That's why na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyagena ike amritatvamanasahu. Not by action you can do, because it says karturagnyaya prapyate palam karma kim param, and karma tajjadam, and that action also Kruti Mahodadau patanakaranam. And therefore, gati nirodhakam. Phalam ashashvitam, gati nirodhakam. It obstructs my growth towards the higher, because I am getting entangled into karma to janma to karma to janma to karma to janma. Then how do I get out of this? So here, same karma can be converted for progress, and he is addressing that in the next sloka. Ishwar arpitam echaya krutam, Ishwar arpitam echaya krutam, chitta sodhakam mukti sadhakam, chitta sodhakam mukti sadhakam. Let's see. So here says Ishwar arpitam. So karma can be, I cannot but do karma. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jato tushtasya karma kratu. No one can remain without performing an action. Krishna makes a declarative statement. So I cannot but act. And if I act, I am getting into this problem. What should I do now? So therefore I am bound. I am really cannot, there is no solution to it, because Kruti Mahodadau patanakaranam. It becomes action to result, result to action, action to result, and result to vasanas, and therefore it's becoming an eternal. So where is the salvation? And therefore here the salvation is convert the action itself in such a way that it doesn't leave the vasanas. So how do we do it? Here it says Ishwararpitam nechaya krutam chitta sodhakam mukti sadhakam. So Ishwararpitam. So I have to offer the action to Ishvara. What should I offer? There are different degrees of offer. Say action can be offered, results of action can be offered. So when I perform an action, So I can have an attitude that I am performing an action for not for my sake, because there is an ego involved. Whenever I perform an action this with an attitude that I am a doer and it's for my sake if I do it, then that is ahankara is involved, and there is a mamakara and ahankara comes into picture, I and mine, and that result come, and that leaves also impression or vasanas. Not to have vasanas while performing an action, here is the recipe. That's called karma yoga. So here the way Bhagavan is addressing that how one can perform an action without having kruti mohodado patana karanam paramashasthitam gati nirodhakam. So instead of gati nirodhakam, it is obstructing the path. Instead of how can it help in the direction for me to realize. Here is Ishvara arpita buddhi. So Ishvara is, I have to offer to the Ishvara. So how can I offer to the Ishvara? Where is that Ishvara? So we just mentioned who is the Ishvara. Ishvara is Jagat Karta Ishvaraha, means he is the creator. Not only Jagat Karta, he is Jagat Karanam Ishvaraha. He is the material cause also. He himself became many. That means he is the material also. Gold became many. Whereas goldsmith made ornament, whereas the gold became many ornaments. So becoming means the gold itself is the material cause. Becoming involves material cause, because from which all gold ornaments came, by which it is sustained, into which gold it goes back. Therefore, from which the whole universe came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. That's how the Upanishad defines the Brahman. Yato va imani bhutani jayante ena jatani jivanti yat prayamta visham visanti tad vinyasasva tad brahmeti. Therefore, from which whole universe came, by which it is sustained. To sustain means it is a material cause, and therefore the whole universe is material. So when I perform an action, and action as an offering to the Lord. So when I go to a temple and I offer a prayer to the Lord, so there when I go to a temple, you do puja and all that. That which he's going to talk in the next sloka on. So when I perform the puja and all that, so after the puja is over, when I offer the fruits, I bought fruits from outside and there it's offered. But just now said the whole universe is nothing but the Lord himself. So fruits are also the Lord, and the production is also from him only. So I am taking his fruits and give it to him, offering it to him. Oh Lord, please take it. So what is that? It's like taking my purse, pickpocketing my purse and giving a gift wrap and says, I am presenting this. When I open it, it's my own purse. Says, you are giving my purse. Yes, but I am giving it as a gift for you. Says, you don't have even gratitude because I am giving a gift. But this is mine. If I could have used it, at least thank God that I am giving it to you. So Lord also sees that this fellow is bringing my own fruits and bringing it and then offering it, says offering it to me, which is mine only. But Lord knows all this, but he says, okay, he is giving it to me. So where can I put it? Everything is me only. So therefore, give him back. So we give it to the Lord only because he is not eating anything. Okay, we'll say, Lord, everybody is waiting for this prasadam. If you start eating, then nobody will come for the temple also. So therefore, when I offer it, I should have an understanding, oh Lord, this is yours only, but I am offering to you because I have a notion that this is mine. What I am offering it is not the fruits. I am offering my misunderstanding or misnotion that this is mine, this is mine. That mamakaratvam is what I am offering it to you. Todiyam vastu govinda tubhyameva samarpaye. Oh Lord, this is yours only. I am offering it because I have the wrong notion. So Ishvara arpitam. So what is that? If I offer it to the Lord, so offering itself is a method of prayer, because whatever I do in the temple, I offer something, and when the puja is over, they distribute prasad. Whatever is offered is distributed. So it's called, first is called naivedyam or kainkaryam. So when I perform an action or when I give something, patram, pushpam, palam, toyam, yome bhaktya prechasi, whatever you give with the bhakti, he takes the bhakti and give you back whatever you give. And because there is nothing where he can keep, everything is his only. Therefore, when it comes back, it is called no more naivedyam, it's called prasadam, because he gives the result. And when prasadam is there, it's distributed to everybody. So when somebody says this is a prasadam, you accept it without any reaction. We don't ask the question, is this sweet or is it hot? Is it, how come I am only getting this much? The other fellow is getting more. All these questions are not asked because this is prasadam. So once we have an attitude of prasada buddhi, so Ishvara arpita buddhi and prasada buddhi have to go together in any temple, any puja. And therefore when I take it as a prasad, I take reverentially without reacting to the prasad. Now this temple and puja and prasad, all that is only a training, because the Lord is everywhere. Everything is nothing but the Lord. Lord is not only in the temple, but he is outside the temple. So Gurudev used to say, don't leave the Lord in the puja room. After the puja is over, take the Lord with you. Not the vigraha, not the idols, but in your mind carry the Lord with you, because Lord is everywhere, means recognize the presence of the Lord not only in the puja room but outside the puja room also. That understanding I should have, and therefore says this attitude that not only the Lord is inside the temple but outside the temple. Therefore whatever action I perform, I am acting in the universe, with the universe. Therefore it is only again offering. So Lord is everywhere. So every action becomes the karma becomes a prayer. Therefore, action can be itself become a prayer. So that's called essentially the nivedanam, kainkaryam. So every action can be converted into prayer if I bring the Lord and realize that Lord is everywhere, and therefore this is my offering to the Lord. Whatever the action that I am supposed to be doing, or whatever action I am doing, if I think of the Lord and offer it to the Lord, it becomes a naivedyam. So Krishna himself says, after patram, pushpam, palam, toyam, says, yat karoshi yadashnasi, yat juhoshi dadasi yat, tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, offer it to me. So therefore, he gives his, you don't have to go to temple, you don't have to do all that. Every temple, because I am everywhere also. Since you cannot see me everywhere, at least go to the temple and recognize. Until you understand that Lord is everywhere also, then I can see the temple everywhere also. Therefore, every action becomes my prayer. So when I perform an action as a prayer, I should have the right attitude. Number one, I am offering to the Lord. Therefore, that action has to be a dharmic action. Dharmic action is that which is Lord can only appreciate also. So what is dharma? I should know. So what is dharma is again dictated by the Vedas also. What is a dharmic action? A simplest rule is that which I expect others to do to me, I should do to others. That which I expect others not to do to me, I should not do to the others. I expect others to tell me the truth. I expect others not to steal my property. I expect everybody to be kind to me, to forgive my mistakes. All that I expect others I should do, then that becomes a dharma. So when I perform an action with an attitude of dharma, then it has to be a dharmic action. The second aspect of it is, when I am offering to the Lord, I have to do the best that I can. Suppose I want to give the Lord some good prasadam or naivedyam, say make a laddu, but if the laddu is not taste good, says I cannot give it to the Lord, because when I want to give it to the Lord, I want to make the best laddu that I can, then offer it to Him. The same thing happens to the action also. Whenever I perform an action, I had to do my part, my best to the benefit. That's what is in the Karma Yoga says the Yajnartham karma non yatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. So Krishna says Yajnartham karma anyatra karma bandhanaha. Otherwise it becomes a bondage because of the vasanas and so on. So perform an action for yajna. What is a yajna? Yajna, Swami Chinmayanji defines beautifully, yajna is cooperative endeavor performed with self-sacrificing mode for the benefit of totality. So whatever I do for the benefit of the totality, in completely sacrificing myself, it means not for my sake, for the benefit of the totality itself, that becomes a yajna. So when I go to office, I perform my action for the benefit of the totality itself, to the best that I can. So this yajnartha means I had to involve my total involvement, and to the best that I can do, then only it becomes the yajna. So if you apply that at the individual level, I have a body, mind and intellect, BMI. So all the components BMI have to be completely involved in the action. So every component is totally involved for the benefit of the totality, which is the individual. Then the action can be the best that comes out. From the family level, the husband, the wife, children, everybody doing their part, their best for the benefit of the totality that is a family, then the family will prosper. Same thing the nation. So everybody in the nation performing their part, their best, whatever their roles that they have taken, their part, their best for the benefit of totality, for that the nation can prosper, the nation as well as the individuals also contributing will prosper. And this is what is called yajna. Yajnartham also is, yajna means Lord, because in the Vishnu Sahasranama, yajna is one of the names of Vishnu is also yajna. So therefore, yajnartham means for the sake of the Lord, that is Ishwararpitam. So Ishwararpitam is na ichchaya, without self-centered desire. If I perform an action, then that action will not be binding. So yajnartham karma anyatra karma bandhana. Otherwise it's going to bind you. And therefore it becomes chitta sodhakam. Chitta sodhakam means it gets purification of the mind. What's the purification of the mind? Mind has this vasanas propelling me to perform an action, and this vasanas get neutralized, and that becomes like a snake where the tongs are being removed, and therefore the snake cannot bite even. So that becomes a pannaga bhushanam. So Lord is pannaga bhushanam, is the one who wears the pannaga. Pannaga is nothing but the vasanas that have been neutralized, and that is what essentially is chitta sodhakam. And when the mind gets purified, when the Vedanta teaching is given, then it becomes a mukti sadhakam, because I need a purified mind to absorb the Vedantic teaching. Therefore, it becomes method. So karma that was rejected in the previous slokas, because it becomes krutimahodado patanakaranam and gati nirodhakam, it is obstructing. Now it helps you in preparation of the mind. That means chitta suddhi. Therefore, purification process. So one needs to get purified, the mind needs to get purified. So what is the purification? Removing all the pressure of the vasanas. So pressure vasanas get neutralized in the process, then it gets purified. That is essentially mukti sadhakam. That helps in terms of moksha also. Mukti is liberation. That he addressed that in the process. Bhagavan addressed what is involved in the Karma Yoga. But Karma Yoga involves Ishvara. Ishvara is the Lord. So to have the proper understanding of the Ishvara, we need a bhakti also, because for me to offer something, I need to have an attitude of reverential attitude. Then only I can offer something with that reverential attitude. And therefore, bhakti becomes an essential ingredient for Karma Yoga also. Therefore, he is going to emphasize the bhakti aspect, and that we will take in the next two slokas. Kaya Vangmanaha Karyamuttamam. Kaya Vangmanaha Karyamuttamam. Pujanam Japat Chintanam Kramat. Pujanam Japat Chintanam Kramat. Jagata Ishadhihi Yukta Sevanam. Jagata Ishadhihi Yukta Sevanam. Ashtamurti Brug Deva Pujanam. Ashtamurti Brug Deva Pujanam. We'll stop here for a few minutes and come back again and continue this, and we'll finish 4 sloka and 5, so that the rest of the slokas have been done in the camp. Hari Om. Let's do Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.